After 16 games, I led 9-7. Earlier, I had written that trying to keep the match quiet was easier said than done. In Game 17, the quiet approach completely collapsed. It's hard enough to play for a win in every game, but to draw 7 of 8 games at a snail's pace felt impossible. Tull thinks, at first, I believed I could follow my trainer's advice and keep control. But in one critical moment, like many chess players before me, I was suddenly drawn to the forbidden, risky, adventurous play. This surprise anti-positional approach shocked Botvinnik, who had expected me to stay cautious. The 17th game, I believe, defined Botvinnik's style most clearly, his grandiose technique. But it also revealed why he ultimately failed in this match. Because in a long, grinding world championship, the battle can suddenly explode into risky, unpredictable struggle. And I was ready for it.
A standard opening move that grabs the center and challenges the d5 and f5 squares. Fundamental and not too flashy, the Caro-Kann defense is a fundamental opening. Taking the center this way is the main way of playing again. d5 fights for central control while attacking the e4 pawn. Knight c3 protects the e4 pawn and attacks the d5 pawn. D takes e4 opens up the center, and plans to meet knight takes e4 with either bishop f5 or knight f6, challenging the knight. Knight takes e4 recaptures with the knight in the center of the board, where it controls many important squares. Bishop f5 develops the bishop and attacks the knight on e4. Black can play e7, e6 next, without trapping the light-squared bishop on c8. Knight g3 attacks the bishop on f5 and controls the e4 square. Bishop g6 retreats the attacked bishop, but keeps it on the active diagonal where it controls both the e4 and d3 squares. Bishop c4 develops the bishop to an active diagonal, where it attacks f7 and controls d5. e6 controls the d5 and f5 squares and allows the dark-squared bishop to develop. Knight 1 e2 develops the knight toward the center and protects the d4 pawn. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and controls the e4 square. This mobilizes the knight, allowing it to control more of the board, developing the bishop and increasing influence in the center. This forces the opponent to double pawns. A clear recapture. This adds pressure by pinning a knight, developing the knight and increasing influence in the center. Castling kingside tends to be safer than queenside because the king is further from the center. Out comes the queen and into the battle. Advancing the pawns in front of the king can compromise the king's safety. This threatens to eventually win a pawn. This threatens to kick a queen. That's fine. That's an unfortunate error. This missed an opportunity to punish a mistake. The best option was to move a bishop to safety. This permits the opponent to move a knight to a more active position. The best option was to move a knight to a more active position. This misses a better way to connect rooks. The better move was to strike at the center with a pawn. This is the only move that works. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. The better move was to recapture a piece. This permits the opponent to kick a knight. This is the only good move. The clearly correct move for a threatened knight. With the rook now developed as well, white has all pieces ready for action. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up trades. This stops the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. Right on target. A very strong play. One of the best moves. The pawns are advancing, aiming straight for the king. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up trades. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up trades. This prevents the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. Black's knight has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. The game was close to equal, but now white has the advantage. White had an advantage, but now the game is close to equal. This stops the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. This is not the right idea. Black has a weak backward pawn. This is the only move that works. This moves the queen to safety. This is the strongest option. White opens the diagonal for the bishop, increasing it. This frees a pinned pawn, allowing it to provide defense. Very precise. There was only one good move there. After all captures, this is an equal trade. A clear recapture. White's piece has moved to a square with greater activity and control. Black's piece has moved to a square with greater activity and control. The best option was to block an attack on a vulnerable rook. This permits the opponent to set up a blockade. The best option was to set up a blockade. Right on target. The better move was to win a tempo by threatening a rook. Only one move worked there, and this wasn't it. This misses a better way to move a queen to a more active position. This allows the opponent to win a pawn through an eventual fork. This overlooks an opportunity to win a pawn through an eventual fork. This loses a pawn. This missed an opportunity to punish a mistake. This is the strongest option. This defends the attacked pawn. The clearly correct move for a threatened queen. This threatens to win material through a tactic. This loses a pawn. Capturing while sacrificing the rook was the right idea. This is the way to win a pawn. This steps away from the checking rook. This threatens to force eventual checkmate. This threatens to force eventual checkmate.